Hey guys, back again here, Johnny and Daniel. It is Game of Thrones, episode 5. We're officially halfway done with the season.
Yep.
And man, this is a good season so far, isn't it?
Yes,
This is one of the best. Depending on how these last 5 go, this might be the best season yet. But
yeah. So episode 5, season 6 just ended. Oh, that ending! The way that they bring in these characters like Hodor, that aren't big characters, but everybody knows them and loves them, and then they just throw them in there. It's like, oh my god! I was like on the edge of tears watching Hodor.
It was intense at the end.
Get decimated, which they did a little bit of like misdirection. I thought Bran was gonna like pop up and like do some Kamehameha down the freaking pipe and just blow all those guys away.
Well, Bran can't fucking walk. So.
I don't know. I thought he would come back somehow. But the ending that they had was just perfect. And,
the way that they edited and it could have, if they had done it wrong or just done something a little bit differently, it could have not been good. Like as good as it was, it was like great.
Yeah. So Bran touched the tree. Everybody was sleeping in the cave. Mm-hmm. He touched the tree. He goes into one of the dreams basically, and he sees a bunch of like dead zombie-looking people. He sees the king, like the Ice King,
the White Walker,
King, and he touches him. And then he wakes up and he's like, oh, and then he has like this ice on his arm. Mm-hmm. And then the Three-Eyed Raven's like, oh, they're going to come and look for you here. I'm going to finish your training right now, even though you're not ready. And then he basically dumps all the knowledge he can into him, so we think. And then all the whites show up with the king and the guys on the horses and everything. Mm-hmm. And they walk straight up in there. And there's a big battle. And then Hodor and the girl, they bring him down the back tunnel to escape. Mm-hmm. And then the whole thing with Hodor happened. It's kind of too complicated to explain. Yeah,
basically they did a really good job of basically explaining where the word or name Hodor came from, and basically as Bran is trying to escape and these things are closing in on him, Hodor stays back to hold the door shut, and it turns out while Bran's in this trance, basically back to the flashback of Hodor and Ned's childhood, he sees Hodor and the girl that's pulling Bran is screaming, "Hold the door!"
Yeah,
and through the Bran's trance, it goes all the way back to Willis,
who has like a seizure.
Yeah, basically he has a seizure because he hears it, and so he basically has a seizure, and he starts screaming, "Hold the door! Hold the door! Hold the door!"
And then it turns into Hodor.
Yeah,
Hodor,
as he like calms down, and it was just like.
And they're cutting this scene on top of actual adult Hodor holding the door shut, getting ripped apart by zombies, and they're just like cutting it like every few seconds. And
yeah, it was really well done. Oh man, I can't. The great ending. Definitely.
Goodbye, Hodor. We greatly appreciate that scene.
Yeah, that was a great. It was just so tragic because. Hodor, he's obviously a minor character, but he's been with the Starks since episode 1. He's practically part of their family, and he's been with Bran. He's got him all the way up to where he is now, basically taking care of him, carrying him on his back, and to see him go and just realize just how tragic his life was because he got at such a young age he got messed up and could only say Hodor. Turns out that's him dying years later, and it's just like wow. So Bran was in this episode a lot, probably the most out of the entire season so far, and that's pretty much all that happened with him. Now, back at Castle Black, we have Jon and Sansa, and at the very beginning of the episode, Sansa actually gets basically a letter sent from Littlefinger saying that he's just a little ways away from Castle Black, and so she and Brienne go to meet Littlefinger, and Sansa just goes off. She
reams him.
She reams Littlefinger. She's pissed. Sophie Turner was great in this scene. This is probably some of the best acting she's had in a while. And she
also at Castle Black, they were looking over like a map, and they're like figuring out what houses are aligned with them and what houses are aligned with the Boltons. So that was basically they're just kind of counting the beans there in the office, and they're trying to figure out what exactly they're going to be able to do for the battle, probably at the end of the season. And there was a hilarious moment when they're on the horses. When they're about to leave.
Yeah. The Tormund Brienne ship is gaining steam.
Yeah, Tormund was like the first time he's like smiled probably in the fucking show, and he's like he like looked over and she looked at him and then he like gave her this little smile.
Their facial expressions are.
And she's like, oh, she like looks away in disgust and he just kind of keeps smiling even more.
Yeah, that was great.
Jump over to Daenerys. She's at Dothrak City still, and
Dothrak City.
Jorah comes out and shows her that he has the grayscale, and then basically he says, "I can't be here. I'm sick. I'm gonna die." Blah blah blah. And he's like, "I'm gonna leave." And she's like, "No, turn around. You know, I've banished you twice, and you come back twice." And she starts crying, and he's like, "I really love you. I have to leave." And she's like, "No, stay." And then she's like, "I'll take whatever resources you need. Find a cure for this." Because she asks him if there's a cure, and he says he doesn't think so, or he's not sure. She's like, "Take whatever you need. Go find a cure, and come back when you're ready. Because I need you by my side when I take the Seven Kingdoms." Pretty cool scene.
And I thought it was interesting that she said, "Go find a cure," and he said specifically, "I don't know if there's a cure or not," but we do know that Stannis' daughter got sick, and with this, the grayscale, and he got everyone that he could find to try to come treat her, and it stopped eventually. So there is a chance, as soon as he got this disease, I assumed he's gonna die at some point soon. But he's been sticking around, and I think this leaves the door open for him to come back later on in the series, hopefully. So, we're in Bravos, Arya is, talking to Jack and Hagar, and he's basically saying, "Oh, the many-faced God, I don't know, we're wondering about your allegiance," basically. And so he gives her this task to go scope out this new, target.
Yeah. So she goes to see the target, who's an actress.
Yeah, and there's this funny bit.
Yeah. So she goes to see the actress at a play. They say she works at a theater. And the play starts.
Little do we know.
The play starts, and there's like a boar.
There's like boar, yeah.
And it stabs the king. And I didn't catch on to this for a little bit, for whatever reason. And the person next to me was like, "Oh man, this is like the Lannisters and the Baratheons."
It was literally like the end of season 1, basically.
Yeah, it was King Robert
Baratheon
got stabbed by the boar, and then the whole thing with Joffrey and Cersei and the whole thing.
And Ned.
Yeah, so Arya's in the crowd watching this, the big crowd, and Robert gets stabbed, and then Joffrey's named king, and they bring in Ned Stark, and Arya's like, "Oh my god, that's my dad," but it's not really, it's just an actor. And Tyrion is there, this little ugly,
the way they're basically caricatures. Ned is like this hillbilly.
He's like a doofus.
Like he's a hillbilly from up north, and he's coming in. And he's like, I'm gonna run this, blah 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 blah. And it's just like ridiculous, obviously, because we know who Ned was. He was like this great guy, and Arya is like really like bothered by it. And then finally it comes around to the scene where they show him getting killed, and she's bothered even.
And she freaks out about that. She goes to the back to hang out with the actors to kind of scope out her target a little bit more. I believe the target was playing Cersei.
So yeah, basically the last few lines of the Arya situation, Jack and Hagar is like, "Don't fuck this up, because it's either you kill her or we're gonna take you, and this is your last shot." And then finally, we have the situation in the Iron Islands with Theon now and his sister Yara.
Yep.
And their uncle Euron.
Yeah, they're basically having a vote, and Yara and Euron. Yara basically says, "I want to be your queen," and they're like, "Why should you be our queen? We've never had a queen before. It's always been men." And then Theon comes forward. There's so many freaking names. And then Theon comes forward and says she should be our queen. She's been here. She knows what she's doing. She's a good commander and a leader and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, which we've all seen before. Yeah.
So then Uncle comes out, who killed her dad just a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
And says, "I have more experience than all of you. I've been all over the world. I've commanded people, and I'm going to take the ships that you're going to build." And
he lays out an interesting plan, which I didn't see coming.
Everybody's on board for Yara to be
honest,
to be president of Iron Island. And he basically says her platform is, "I'm going to build the biggest military we have ever seen, and we're going to really make our mark." And he says, "I'm going to take that military because I know what to do with it, and I'm going to take it to Daenerys."
He says
their fleet, because she's always needed boats.
Yeah, because he's been there. He's heard of her stories a lot more than these people have, and he basically says, "I'm going to build 1,000 ships. We're going to go across. I'm going to show Daenerys these ships. She has a massive army, and basically I'm going to seduce her with this navy, and then together they can take over along the Iron Islands to gain glory. They can take over all of Westeros, basically."
So of course all the Iron Island people are
freaking out. They're like, "Oh shit, yeah, let's do that."
They're lit. They're ready to go.
Yeah.
So he goes and gets basically baptized in the water.
Cuts to that, yeah.
To become the king of the Iron Islands.
Yeah, but meantime, you see Theon and Yara, and them and a bunch of others are like sneaking away and taking all of the ships.
The whole fleet is out of the bay. They're like leaving. And then after the little baptism, he wakes up. He like basically drowned. He wakes up. They go up to execute. He's like, "Where is my niece and nephew?"
Yeah, he wants to kill him.
And he's like, "Let's go fucking murder him."
Yeah.
And then they go up and they see they're at the top of the hill or the mountain, and they see the whole fleet's gone. And he's basically like, oh, fuck. But he turns around
Yeah.
and he looks at everybody and he's like, I want every man, woman, and child building 1,000 ships right now. And then we're
going to teach them a lesson.
Yeah, we're going to teach them a lesson.
I don't know what to think about this guy.
I mean, he has balls of steel.
He has balls of steel, that's for sure. I mean,
he whips them up into a frenzy.
And another question, where are Theon and Yara going with all these ships? You know what I mean?
Maybe they're gonna try to get to Daenerys first. Maybe that sounded like a good plan to them.
That's. I mean, it's definitely interesting. I mean, the Iron Islands has basically been a non-factor during the whole Reek scenario because he's the main Ironborn and he's been away. Now that he's back, it's really been picking up this season. And now I'm really interested.
Yeah, this first half of the season has been phenomenal.
Absolutely.
This episode 5 was great, and that ending, man. Oh.
Yeah, the ending was the cherry on top of this episode because the episode overall was really, really good.
This show can get you to like almost cry about a character like Hodor.
Yeah.
Like, that's how good the damn show is. Overall, what do you score this episode?
Whew.
Actually, I scored this episode a 10. I'm gonna say that right
now. No way!
I have to give this episode a 10.
What?
It just it
great episode.
So many freaking beats in like every single thing. Because the little play that they put on was phenomenal.
That was very interesting.
It was so funny, and it was like the fact that they could kind of make fun of themselves in that.
Yeah.
And the thing with Hodor, just
the
detailing it took from season 1 with Hodor's name to what they just did was on another level.
I agree.
Damn. Oh my god.
Damn, this was a great episode. Not gonna lie.
That storytelling is a 10 out of 10. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it was a great episode. Not a 10 in my opinion. I'd say 9.5, just short. I could have used a little more action, but it was great storytelling. I don't think, have we done an episode, what's the lowest score we've given this season? 8.5 maybe?
Probably 8.5 or 9.
Yeah, so that just goes to show. And I expect another 10 before the end of the season, maybe more. So let's
There's going to be a lot, I feel like.
Yeah, so
stay tuned. We're going to have the last 5 episodes covered as well. Oh, this season is so freaking good.
This is a great season. I don't know what we have coming this week, but look for the X-Men Apocalypse review to be coming at the end of this week, Thursday night, Friday morning. And obviously we'll have Game of Thrones back next week. So
thank you guys for watching.
Okay.
It's time to edit this and watch the fucking main event.
It's probably just starting. Knowing that the answer to the main event's still about 11.
Yeah. It's supposed to be over.